Okay, so how do we actually accomplish this? So let's talk about time management and rehearsal. So we want to have fun and fellowship and love people well. You can't skip that. And I always have to be careful to be intentional about creating times for fellowship because I'm not naturally wired that way as a leader. But we've also got a mission to accomplish. So we want to balance all of this. So let's do the math. Let's say you have an hour and a half and you have 4 songs. Okay, that's 90 minutes divided by 4 songs. That gives you 22 and a half minutes per song. Okay, so a typical song averages 5 minutes. I highly recommend that you run each song at least 2 times. 2 times tends to be about right in a normal rehearsal. 98% of the time I will do this even if the first time it was great. I occasionally will break this rule if there's a compelling reason, like we had technical issues and we're pressed for time. If it's a night of worship with 10 or more songs, I'm not going to run everything twice because that's like a 4-hour rehearsal. But for a normal rehearsal, we'll run everything twice. So if an average song is 5 minutes, we run it twice, that's 10 minutes. Now you have approximately 12 and a half minutes left per song for feedback, working out parts. That may sound like a lot, it's actually not. I can do a lot with 12 and a half minutes, but if you're wasting time, if there's dead space and you're not moving quickly, you'll go through that time like this. It just flies by. Remember that when you run songs multiple times, that the first time is getting acclimated to everybody, the second time is locking into everybody, and then the third time when you do it live, that's when you get typically the best results. If you have 5 songs in 90 minutes, then you're down to 18 minutes a song. So take away 10 minutes for running songs, then you have 8 minutes of feedback. Okay, now you really have to move. 8 minutes is nothing. So you need to have a plan. You need to keep rehearsal moving and use that time effectively. As a side note, like rehearsals without wasted time are going to be more fun for your team. If there's not dead space and things keep moving, they feel like their time is being respected because typically they're volunteers, and that's an important part of respecting your volunteers. So to do this when you're not used to running rehearsal, think ahead of time what the likely problem spots will be. If you know your players and their skill, you'll likely have a read on what sections will be difficult for what players. So then prepare how you're going to respond if those problem spots come up. The better you lead, the more you lead your team, the more you will know how to do this. And then as you lead more, you'll be able to do it off the cuff. A lot of times I don't have to specifically prepare for a rehearsal of planning what songs are going to have problem spots, because especially if I've led the song before, I typically just know instinctively what those are going to be. But that's an experience thing. 5 years ago even, I would have made much more detailed plans to have in place and actually scripted a little bit of, if I see this issue, this is what I'm going to say. If I don't see this issue, obviously I don't use it, that kind of thing. When you're a newer leader, you need to have extra preparation because you don't have the benefit of experience to kind of fill in the gaps. Once you get more experience and you've done this for a while, you'll realize, you'll start to hit a point where you're like, I don't have to think about this as consciously as it's much more natural. It doesn't have to be prepared. And that's really the best place to be, because the better you are at responding to your specific situation, the better a leader you will be. Even when you lead the same team week to week, it can change, the problem spots with a song can change week to week. So just be aware, plan ahead, and as a newer leader, you want to put in more preparation.